Imagine this. You are standing on the deck of an old ship. The sails are billowing in the wind, but it is not a gentle wind. It is a salty wind, whipping your face with invisible whips. In the sky, the clouds are as thick as gunpowder smoke. All around is water, water, and water. 1 day, then 3 days, then 10 days without sight of land. The ship's food supplies were running low. The last of the salted meat was turning moldy. The barrels of fresh water were beginning to smell fishy. The sailors' throats were parched, their eyes sunken, their lips chapped. This was the reality that pirates faced. They did not live in the romantic world of Hollywood movies. There was no endless rum. There were no lavish banquets. The reality was, they were constantly battling hunger, thirst, and decay. You know, on the vast ocean, pirates cannot stop at any port they want, because there might be soldiers, there might be gallows waiting. So, once they leave land, they enter a game of survival where the prize is not gold, but the next breath. In the history of maritime affairs, not only pirates but also sailors had to eat horrible foods to survive. But for pirates, the hardship was doubly severe, because they often had to hide, take detours, and cross seas where few people set foot. That meant their time at sea was doubled, tripled, and that also meant they had to create ways of eating that today, just hearing about it, makes us shudder. Imagine this, a wooden barrel of salted meat. Open it. A foul smell. The meat inside is discolored and slimy, but the pirates have to eat it. Otherwise, they will die. Or a biscuit called hardtack. It was so hard you could use it to stop bullets. But at sea, it was a staple food. Sailors had to soak it in salt water to soften it, then bite it off bit by bit, while trying to swallow the maggots that had nested inside. You see, this isn't about food. This is about survival. And the cold truth is, the farther from shore, the more disgusting the food becomes. No longer fresh, no longer clean. Only things so harsh that they turn steel stomachs to rusty steel. Americans today may be accustomed to pizza, hamburgers, and succulent steaks, but if you sat down at a mid-8th century pirate's table, it wouldn't be dinner, it would be war. The spoon you hold in your hand may not be for scooping soup. It may be for scooping maggots out of salted meat. The cup you hold may not contain pure water. It contains dirty water mixed with sour vinegar, only to kill bacteria and quench thirst. And the morsel you chew may not be soft, spongy bread, but a block as hard as a rock, as brittle as a brick, and full of rat bites. But it was those harsh meals that kept the pirates alive, that kept them going, that kept them strong enough to rob, fight, and wreak havoc on the seas. Without those dishes, there would be no Blackbeards, no Captain Kidds, no pirate legends that we know today. So, if you want to understand what pirates really were, you have to look at what they ate. And trust me, what you are about to hear next will make you never look at a biscuit or a piece of bacon in the same way again. Imagine, you're sitting in a dark ship's hold, holding a grayish-brown cube in your hand. It's not fragrant, it's not soft, it's not sweet. It's so hard you could hammer a nail into it. It's not a rock, it's hardtack, the infamous biscuit that fed thousands of sailors and pirates for centuries. It was known by many names, the stone biscuit, the broken tooth, or the edible brick. But to pirates, it was both a savior and a nightmare. How is hardtack made? Its recipe is brutally simple. Just flour, water, and sometimes salt. No yeast, no milk, no spices. Then the mixture is rolled out, cut into squares, and baked until it is as hard as iron. When fresh, it was not very tasty. But remember, at sea, pirates could carry hardtack for months to years. That's right. Many batches of these biscuits were stored for so long that they outlived the ship. There are records of sailors finding hardtack that is 10, even 20 years old, and still edible, still chewable, if your teeth don't break first. How to eat hardtack? Answer: difficult and scary. A block of hard, brick-like cake could not be bitten directly, so pirates had to soak it in seawater, rum, or thin soup to soften it. Some even knocked the hardtack on the deck to break it into small pieces before chewing. But that's just the beginning. The real problem lies within. You see, the longer hardtack sits, the more uninvited guests it attracts. Maggots, weevils, and insects often nest in the cake. Open it up, and you can see tiny white weevils crawling around. Chew a piece of hardtack, and you can feel the crunchy, not only from the hard dough, but also from the crispy insect wings. Some pirates don't care. They just blow the maggots away, or even eat them, because it's still free protein. Protein. Feeling when eating. Imagine this. You chew a small piece. Your teeth crackle like you're biting into a pebble. The taste is bland, dry, and sticky. You take a sip of water to swallow, but at the same time, your tongue feels a live worm wriggling. No, this is not food for the faint of heart. But for pirates, it is the difference between life and death. Why is hardtack so important? Hardtack was not tasty, but it was durable. While salted meat spoiled quickly, vegetables rot quickly, hardtack could last for years without mold. It was the only thing that guaranteed that, whether in the middle of the Pacific or the Atlantic, pirates would have something to eat. And it was this indestructibility that made hardtack a mainstay of the sea diet. At times, entire crews lived on nothing but hardtack and rancid water. No hardtack means starve. The price to pay. But eating a lot of hardtack isn't just about taste. It's also about health. The pirates ate this dry bread every day, which led to severe constipation. Lack of vegetables and fruits caused them to suffer from scurvy, a vitamin C deficiency that caused teeth to fall out, gums to bleed, and the body to become weak. There is even a story that a group of sailors had to chew hardtack with hammers. They placed the cake on a board, used hammers to smash it into pieces, and then ate it. It sounds funny, but that is the harsh truth of pirate life. A haunting anecdote. An English sailor once wrote in his diary, "When I broke the hardtack in half, dozens of maggots fell into my hand. Instead of throwing them away, I tapped them off, then put the bread in my mouth. I chewed, and I could still hear them snapping in my teeth. But I couldn't skip a meal, because if I did, I would starve to death before I reached shore." Does that make you shudder? For pirates, this is all too common. Hardtack, symbol of harshness. Today, looking back, hardtack is more than just a dish. It is a symbol of harshness, of the spirit of survival. It reminds us of how terrible things humans can endure to survive on the sea. And for pirates, every time they chewed a piece of hardtack, they chose to live instead of giving up. So, even though it is as hard as rock, smells of termites, and is full of maggots, hardtack is still an indispensable part of the pirate's journey to spread terror on the ocean. If you thought eating maggot-filled hardtack was horrible enough, wait until you hear about what pirates had to drink. Because at sea, thirst is more cruel than hunger. You can go without food for days, but just 3 days without fresh water, and your body will collapse. Fresh water, the real treasure. On any voyage, fresh water is more precious than gold. It is stored in large wooden barrels, but in the harsh tropical heat, after only a few weeks, the water begins to change color. It becomes cloudy, smells fishy, and even scum appears. Picture this. Your throat is parched. Your lips are chapped. You lift the lid of the bucket. A musty, musty smell rises. The water inside is yellow as sewage. On the surface, green slime glistens in the light. You know that if you drink, you might throw up. But if you don't drink, you'll die of thirst. The pirates understood that well, and they chose to swallow that foul water like drinking despair itself. Beer and wine, temporary solution. Why did people in ancient times carry beer or rum on ships? Because they are more stable than soft drinks. Alcohol and yeast help prevent bacteria from growing. During the first days of the journey, beer and wine are lifesavers. They not only replace water, but also bring a little excitement, helping to forget fatigue. But the problem is, beer and wine don't last forever. After several weeks, beer turns sour, and foams off. Rum is gradually diluted and divided among the crew. And then, the pirates return to their horror. Rancid water. Posca, life-saving vinegar. There is a harsh recipe that pirates learned from ancient Roman soldiers. Mix vinegar with dirty water. Sounds crazy, right? But the truth is that vinegar helps kill some bacteria, making the water last longer. When drunk, the liquid was so sour that it stung the tongue. It was neither refreshing nor sweet. It was like swallowing a bitter pill. But for pirates, it was the only way to keep their bodies from burning with thirst. Some records say that there were pirate ships that survived on only vinegar water for a whole month. Seawater, a double-edged sword. In desperation, some people drank seawater directly, and the price was death. The seawater was so salty that it dehydrates the body more quickly. Every sip doubled his thirst. His kidneys were overloaded. His muscles spasmed. Finally, the sailor collapsed in delirium, to the sound of the waves. Pirates were wiser. They knew that drinking seawater was suicide. But in times of crisis, some tried it anyway, and their death served as a chilling warning to the rest of the crew. Desperate creations. Sometimes, pirates try to invent new solutions. They collected rainwater from the deck, using cloth, buckets, and even helmets. They tried to distill seawater by boiling and collecting the steam. But on small wooden boats, this was rarely successful. They even drank the blood of animals, from sea turtles, dolphins to captured birds. Fresh blood became an alternative source of fluid. It sounds crazy, but at sea, between life and death, any liquid that can be swallowed turns into drinking water. The haunting diary of a sailor. A Dutch sailor once recorded, "The water in the barrel already smelled like death, but my throat burned. I held my nose and drank 3 mouthfuls. I threw up immediately, but then I brought the cup back to my mouth. Otherwise, I would have died of thirst. I swear, the taste of it lingered in my mouth years after I left that ship." Reading this far, does your throat feel dry? Silent fear. For pirates, hunger can be shared. A loaf of hardtack can be broken for the whole crew. But thirst is a silent, private pain. Every sip of water on the boat is a life or death decision. Drink now and risk the filth and poison, or hold back and face the slow death of thirst. It was a cruel game the sea forced them to play. Lessons from the harsh. Nowadays, we turn on the tap and get a stream of clean, cool water. But for pirates, a sip of clean water was a distant dream. It was this deprivation that created horror stories. People drinking vinegar, people swallowing fresh blood, people dying of thirst in the middle of the deep blue ocean. And that is why, when talking about the life of a pirate, one cannot just talk about swords, guns, or treasure. One must talk about something much more haunting. Every sip of water they drank smelled of despair. When it comes to pirates, many people immediately think of barrels of rum, songs on deck, or treasure hidden in wooden chests. But there is another treasure, less shiny than gold and silver, but far more valuable to those who sail the high seas. That is sea turtle, W turtle. Why are sea turtles so special? In the ocean, all animals are difficult to catch. Huge whales need powerful weapons. Ferocious sharks are hard to hold. Small fish are slippery. But sea turtles are different. They are slow, easy to catch, and most importantly, can live for weeks on a ship without food or water. That made them the pirates' living refrigerator, a portable, durable source of fresh meat that could be slowly killed and eaten. Turtle meat, a luxurious feast in the middle of the ocean. Compared to dry hardtack or rotten salt meat, sea turtle meat is a delicacy from heaven. It is tender, juicy, and tastes like a cross between chicken and fish. The turtle fat is rich and can be used for frying or cooking. A large turtle could feed an entire crew for days. Pirates often roasted the meat over an open fire or stewed it in large cast-iron pots. And not just meat, they eat it all, from the fatty turtle eggs to the organs, even the blood. Turtle blood, a life-saving drink. In their thirst, when the fresh water was gone, the pirates had a creepy secret. They drank the blood of sea turtles. Turtle blood tastes fishy and salty, but is rich in nutrients and can be a temporary substitute for drinking water. For many crew members, it was the reason they survived. Picture the scene. A turtle lying upside down on the deck of a ship, a knife slashing its neck, dark red blood pouring into a wooden bucket, thirsty men gulping down each mouthful as if it were the finest wine. Not wine, not beer, blood. And that is the stark truth of survival at sea. Unique way of preservation. Unlike salted meat, unlike dried fish, live sea turtles were fresh meat reserves. Pirates simply kept them in the hold, shell down to prevent them from escaping. No feeding, no care. When needed, just haul them up and kill them. So in the eyes of pirates, each turtle is more than just food. It is an insurance policy for life. Symbol of luck. Many documents say that when a pirate ship captured a large sea turtle, the entire crew cheered as if they had found treasure. Some even knelt down to pray, considering it a gift from the sea. Some captains even ordered the turtle meat to be divided equally, considering it a reward after days of hardtack and vinegar. Some records say that Blackbeard, the most notorious pirate, kept dozens of sea turtles in his ship's hold, and thanks to that, his crew rarely died of hunger and thirst. A story from a sailor. A French sailor once wrote in his diary, "When we caught a big turtle, joy spread throughout the ship. The captain ordered it to be killed that night. We drank its blood, ate its meat, and for the first time in months, I felt like I had had a real meal. I had never seen my crew so happy, with only a piece of charred turtle meat in their hands." You see, in thirst and hunger, the luxury is not gold, not pearls, but a sea turtle, the price of life. But this also means that sea turtles are slaughtered mercilessly. Hundreds, thousands of them are captured and killed just to feed the outlawed sailors. Today, many species of sea turtles have become rare, partly due to overexploitation in previous centuries. Turtle meat, from survival dish to legend. In the history of pirates, turtle meat and blood were more than just food. They were legends. They were stories passed down from generation to generation. They were memories etched into the minds of those who had experienced hunger and thirst on the ocean. When we look at a turtle today, we see a gentle, slow creature. But to pirates of old, it was a symbol of life, a gift from the sea, saving them from the jaws of death. So now you know why sea turtles became a legendary dish on pirate menus. Not because they were delicious, not because they were exotic, but because they had pulled outlaws back from the brink of death many times, for centuries. Stop for a moment, close your eyes, and think about the foods you have heard about during this journey. Hardtack, a mass of dough as hard as a rock, full of maggots. Rotten, sour water, sometimes mixed with vinegar to keep it from spoiling. Turtle blood, turtle meat, both a feast and a life-saving medicine. Moldy, stinking salt meat, but still swallowed. And when everything ran out, even sea worms, live fish, or boiled shoe leather became food. It's not a restaurant menu. It's a survival menu. There is no other choice. What makes us shudder is not just the food, but the fact that pirates had no other choice. They could not stop at port and buy fresh vegetables. They could not order grilled meat or hot soup. Each voyage lasted months, even years, and they were forced to live on the scraps thrown away by the mainland. What we consider horror is delicious to them, because every bite of food, no matter how bad, means another day of life. The harsh truth. We often imagine pirates as brave men, wielding shining swords, boarding enemy ships to cheers. But the harsh truth is, more pirates died of hunger, thirst, and disease than died in battle. Scurvy, a vitamin C deficiency, killed thousands of sailors. Lips turned purple, gums rotted, teeth fell out, bodies slowly rotted. Infections from spoiled food left many men never to rise again. Thirst drove them insane, forcing them to throw themselves into the sea to drink directly and then drown in delirium. And that's why every bite of bland hardtack, every sip of sour and spicy vinegar, every drop of fishy turtle blood is living proof of that harshness. Lessons from the sea. Today, when we sit in a fancy restaurant, when we throw away the leftover cake, when we are thirsty and just turn on the tap, try to remember that there were people who had to drink blood, eat maggots, and chew hard rocks just to survive. Pirates are not immortal. They are human. They fear hunger, thirst, and death. But the difference is, they swallow their disgust, just to keep a glimmer of hope for survival at sea. Legends don't just come from treasure. Pirates are remembered for their gold, their sea battles, their brutality. But perhaps another important part of the legend lies in what they ate. Without hardtack, there would be no strength to sail. Without vinegar, no one would survive more than a few weeks. Without turtle blood, many voyages have ended in tragedy. Every legend of Blackbeard, of Bartholomew Roberts, of Captain Kidd, is written not only with the blood of enemies, but with the horrors they endured to survive. A reminder for us: you might shudder at the thought of maggots in your hardtack, or the tang of turtle blood in your mouth. But look deeper. It's the power of survival instinct. The sea is unforgiving. It swallows the weak. And only those who dare swallow the vilest survive to become legends. The end, but not really the end. Today, you've come with me on a journey through the most bizarre culinary history, from ice biscuits and rancid water to turtle blood and rotting bacon. But the story doesn't end there. Whenever you hear the waves crashing on the shore, remember, there were ships adrift, filled with skinny, shivering men, holding not treasure, but a piece of hardtack as hard as a brick. And it was those horrifying meals that kept the pirate legend alive in human memory. They were feared for their swords. They were hunted for their gold. But what truly kept them alive were the things they dared to eat: hardtack, rotten meat, stale water, blood of the turtle, flesh of the sea. This was survival. This was the price of legend. And long after their ships have sunk, the taste of their struggle still echoes across the waves. Asterisk.